Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Apologies for the false alarm. We are now live across all social media platforms. Welcome to BWTM Sports. We have with us this very interesting heavyweight fight between the rematch between Deontay Wilder versus Luis King Kong Ortiz. So, I did do some talking beforehand previously in this video about this fight, and I've got some different thoughts about this fight. And I thought of just, instead of just saying, oh, I think this person's going to win and this person's going to win, I'm going to break this fight down and do an actual fight breakdown. Which is, I do like fight breakdowns. And I really want to get into a fight breakdown for this one, because I want to talk about specific punches, specific movements. And if I was a trainer and I would train Deontay Wilder and I would train Luis Ortiz, what I would say to both fighters. Okay, I think I would start with the challenger rather than start with the champion. The challenger, Luis Ortiz, came in, considered the most dangerous heavyweight in the world, if not the most dangerous, the most feared heavyweight, if not the most feared, the most avoided heavyweight in the world. So coming into this fight for Luis Ortiz, I felt, I believed at the time that Luis Ortiz would get blown away. Why? Because I felt that Luis Ortiz had prepared, had the right type of opposition coming in to fight Wilder. He'd come off a year's ban, I believe, for PEDs or something like that. And then he had that one-round knockover job. I think it was against Martz. I could be wrong. But he had a one-round knockout job. And I told people then, this is not the ideal preparation you need to fight Deontay Wilder. You fight a guy that's fat and overweight and really had no business being in the ring with you, some third-tier heavyweight, not even the top 20 or top 30 heavyweight, is your preparation, target practice for Deontay Wilder. Had Luis Ortiz fought regularly coming into this rematch, this first fight against Wilder, we might have seen a new champion. Because for all intended purposes, looking at this first fight, Luis Ortiz showed good boxing ability, and he showed that he has the skills and he's got the tools to beat Deontay Wilder. Let's put this under no illusion. Luis Ortiz has the tools to beat Deontay Wilder. He has the southpaw stance, the powerful straight left hand, and the right hook. Works the body, comes up, blocks Deontay. At times, he was able to slip inside of Deontay Wilder's left jab. If you see the picture here, where he's stepping inside the left jab of Deontay Wilder, and you see where his left hand is there to go straight to Wilder's, straight across there. That straight left hand can go down the pipe there, and Wilder's lean back there. Right there is where Luis Ortiz needs to be. Luis Ortiz needs to be, if I'm training Ortiz this time, never mind about he looks in good shape. You can be in looking good shape and still stay at long distance and get yourself knocked out. The bottom line is Luis Ortiz has got to punch when Wilder punches. He's got to make sure he steps inside. With his jab is of Wilder, he's got to step inside that jab and let his left hand go. Right? He's got to let his left hand go. That's the key for him. He's got to let his left hand go. And the right hook. So he has to counter Wilder. When he had rocked Wilder, it was the right hook. Wilder was coming in with his own right hand. He threw a right hook that stunned Wilder coming in, and then he threw a straight left hand, and that's where the problem started with Wilder. Overreaching, getting overzealous, and allowed Wilder came in, and that's the cooking spot for Luis Ortiz. The two areas of Luis Ortiz is most dangerous is when Wilder is on the inside. Is Wilder's trying to fight on the inside, doesn't use his reach and length, and tries to come up close with Luis Ortiz. Then it closes the range, which Luis Ortiz, the shorter man with a shorter reach, is able to get inside, use the straight left hand, and bang with the right hand as well. The right cross, right hook. So very, very, very important is key. There were some things I saw in the fight which Luis Ortiz did that made absolutely no sense to me. I saw him up on his toes, bouncing around, moving around, bouncing around in a semicircle. But no point in time was he getting himself into trouble or putting himself in range to do any damage. He was just up and bouncing on his toes, which is, for me, wasted energy. When you bounce up on your toes, Okay, you might be bouncing off your toes to shake out some cramp, or you're bouncing on your toes and you're looking to put yourself in a position to either get into attack, or you're bouncing your toes to get out of the way. You're preparing yourself to set up a trap, or you're getting yourself out of the way of a situation. You're either defending or attacking. But when you just bounce on your toes for the sake of bouncing on your toes, that's wasted energy. I can tell you that because I've boxed. It's wasted energy just on your toes bouncing. You want to conserve the energy, particularly as you're an older man. You want to be conserving every ounce of energy you got. But there was elements in that fight where you should jump up, bounce on his toes. There was a moment where he got caught with a shot and he started going backpedaling when he got caught with shots. But when you backpedal, the worst thing you do with Deontay Wilder, if you backpedal, that's when and you backpedal voluntarily. That's where you bring Wilder onto you. So now you've got to punch when Wilder punches. You've got to let Wilder throw that right hand. You've got to let that Wilder throw that right hand. Either block it and counter with your straight left hand, or counter with your own right hook. But block and counter. Block and counter. Then you've got to block and counter with that right hand. You're going to make what? First of all, you're going to make Wilder uncomfortable with his left jab. All right? So you've got to be able to slip inside that left jab, block that left jab, and shoot your own straight left hand through the middle. Very important for you, Luis Ortiz. Make Wilder uncomfortable, because Wilder uses that long, wide stance and the left hand as a rangefinder to say, right, where am I going to put this right hand? Where am I going to put this right hand? Where am I going to put this right? Okay, let me just find an opening. Boom, there you go. I'm going to throw a right hand. You've got to make Wilder unsure of where he's putting that left jab, because if you make Wilder unsure of where he's putting that left jab, you'll also neutralize that right hand as well. Right? So your head's got to be moving coming in, and you've got to be giving angles with Wilder. You can't stay in the same spot for too long, because Wilder will track you with that left jab, find you with that left jab like a rangefinder, lock you into position, and then throw that right hand, which is what we call the bow and arrow. So he's got to use that bow and arrow. That's how a Wilder fights, out of the bow and arrow, which means it's like a bow and arrow. He pulls the arm back, and then he bang, lets the right hand go from the arrow. So pull that like a bow, and then bang the right hand straight through the middle. So that's what he'll try and do with Luis Ortiz. Also has a cuffing shot he's got to watch out for. Luis Ortiz has got to watch his temple as well. Another place where Wilder will look to tap Luis Ortiz is to the temple, with them chopping shots, which he tends to throw as well. So Luis Ortiz has got to watch out for that. If I'm Luis Ortiz and I'm boxing Wilder, the other thing I would do is don't try and go for the knockout early. Work his body. Work Wilder's body, because Wilder has a tendency to back straight up from punches. When he backs straight up from punches and he's got his hands tied by his side, he's vulnerable. Therefore, that way you can go up. You don't have to worry about getting cracked with the right hand, because his hands are down by his side. He's pulling his chin back, and you can't pull his hands back fast enough to generate the power to hit him. So he's vulnerable. He's a guy you can hit. So if you back him to the ropes, as long as he's got his hands down by the side, he's got to pull his hands up. As he's pulling his hands up, that's when you crack him. That's where you hit. When Wilder's back is against the ropes and you close the range, there's very little Wilder can do. So you don't have to worry about that. You just have to worry about Wilder when you're mid-range or long range. Those are the areas you've got to be worried about Deontay Wilder. But up close on the ropes, you've got to face. It's your game. You've got to keep Wilder going to the ropes. Put him to the ropes. Keep him to the ropes. Keep him to the ropes. And when he does block, what he does, he turns to block, he puts his hands up, and he leaves a big gap between his guard for the straight left hand, which is where he was getting hurt along the ropes. These are areas for Luis Ortiz can exploit and he can use to his advantage. So he really has got to use. See, I don't believe this stuff that he has to go for the KO early. I think it's a nonsense. I think it's a bad idea trying to go for the KO early against Deontay Wilder. Why? Wilder's just come off two KO knockouts, right? He had the KO knockout of Stavern, had the KO knockout of Dominic Brazil. He's on a high. You don't want to be going for the KO early. This is ludicrous stuff. This is nonsense people are talking, because Luis Ortiz is more likely to get himself knocked out trying to do that stuff. He needs to take the steam out of Wilder. What he does is work the body. Don't look for the knockout in the early rounds, but what you do is you work Wilder's body. There's straight left hand to the body. Straight left hand to the body. You work the body. When you get up close, work the body. Don't look for the knockout. Work the body. Work the body. So later on in the fight, Wilder's got those bad habits where he pulls his head back and he leaves himself exposed in certain ways. He'll be more tired. So when he tries to throw those right hands, he's more open to be countered. So there you go, have more opportunities, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But if you're back in your condition, why are you trying to go for the knockout early? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's counterproductive, and it's counter what everyone's saying. Everyone's saying, oh, you should go for the knockout early. But if the man's trained is in the back, now the commentators told us in the last fight that Luis Ortiz was in the best shape of his career then. So I don't know how he can be in the best shape of his career now if he was in the best shape of his career then. See, either they're lying to us now or they were lying to us then. Because you can't be in the best shape of your career the last time and best shape of your career this time. So at some point there must be a decline. And I can't believe he's going to be in better shape now than he was then, because it don't make sense. And but he could, I don't know. So what I'm saying to you is this: beside all the stuff about best shape of his career, if you're gonna talk about having that shape and being in that shape, what you need to ensure is that you're backing your fitness. You back your fitness by a higher work rate, by working the body. Don't try knocking Deontay Wilder out. Force him to throw the right hand and counter. Force him to make the work. Make him have to come to you, okay, and make him have to work things out. Back your fitness. Back your fitness. Back your your game plan, and box that game plan. Keep Deontay Wilder's back to the ropes. Don't allow him to get into bow and arrow positions. And when he gets himself into a bow and arrow position, slip out the side doors. Slip out the side doors. Move away from the right hand. If you're going to move away from the right hand, one way of taking the right hand away, because honestly, if you take the right hand away of Deontay Wilder, that's the punch that caused you all the problems. You take that right hand away, we then work with the left hand. And then from there, you've got the right hook that can come over the top of that left hand, and you've got your straight left hand that can come straight through the middle. So it's more your fight. Don't fight Deontay Wilder's fight. Fight your fight. So those are my keys to victory for Luis Ortiz. And for goodness sake, Luis Ortiz, do not stand in front of Deontay Wilder, look at him like a statue, because you will get yourself knocked out. Do not stand and look at him. You can't be doing that. Do something. Either be shooting out a jab, or shooting out, or getting ready to counter. Force Deontay Wilder to come at you. Lots more feints. So that's what I'll say for Luis Ortiz. And be careful, because Deontay Wilder is going to be coming at you like a steam train, because he's on a high after having 2 big knockout wins. All right, I did miss the Fury fight out there, but 2 big knockout wins in the first round. See, he's got that persevere knocking you out early. So let's pay attention to that as I'm talking to Luis. Now the flip side, Deontay Wilder, the champion of the world. You've come off some great wins. Some great wins, and I just feel now that this is the opportunity for you to make a statement. You had a rocky patch in the 8th round, an opportunity, or 7th, 8th round, where Ortiz had you rocking, but he caught you some big shots, some really big shots he caught you with, and you were able to take it. So what do you say? You weren't fit. You were sick in the first fight. You said you had a cold. Okay, so you're going to be coming in heavier. You're going to be a better fighter than you were before. Having had the Fury fight, the Brazil fight, you're coming in a better fighter. You've been fighting more consistently than Luis Ortiz against better opposition. You're the champion. You're the established champion now. What do you do in this rematch? First and foremost, Deontay Wilder, do not back up against ropes. Use your jab. And this time when you use your jab, more feints. Make Luis Ortiz come to you. Let Ortiz come to you. Use the feints, all right? And use the straight right hand. Use the feints. The right hand and left hook combination is the key for you. Right hook, the right hook, left, the right, yeah, straight right, and combination. All right? Okay, you need to do that. Second thing for you as well, Deontay Wilder, keep your shape at all times. There are a lot of times in your fights you seem to go off balance because you're rushing to go for the knockout. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Use the jab. Use the jab, all right? And use the jab. And when Luis Ortiz stops, that's when you bang your right hand. You throw your right hand. Because he stops and he'll look at you. That's when you throw your right hand with Luis Ortiz. Okay? And test that. Test that newfound fitness he's got there. And see, he's lost weight. Let's see what his durability is like. And of course, you're going to be heavier in this fight. You're going to be fitter in this fight. You're not going to come off a flu. So you're going to be physically stronger this time round. Hit Luis Ortiz early to see A, his own punch resistance, and B, to see if there is a difference in your punch power and being heavier at the weight. See, find out early. Don't allow Luis Ortiz to get into any confidence in the fight. and know that you can knock him out. So, you know, he's going to be older. He's not going to have fought for a while. His last fight wasn't great. Jump on him. He's the older guy. Work him early. So those are my points to Deontay Wilder. But don't rush in. Do not rush in. Learn from the way you got clipped in the first fight. Pulling your head straight back from punches is not smart. Do not pull back in straight lines against Luis Ortiz. Come out the side door. Do not come out. Lots of feints. Plenty of feints. So the first fight, you didn't feint enough. Lots more feints to make Luis Ortiz, put Luis Ortiz, he doesn't move his head much, Luis Ortiz. So if you can use more feints, you can draw, instead of just pouring with your jab, instead, feint, draw the feint, bring him forward, draw him, and then draw him, bring him onto the right hand. So I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more of you trying to blind Ortiz with the left hand as well. So you're pouring that left jab out there all the time before. Let me see you now using that jab every so often, and just blind him with the jab and throw the right hand down the pipe. Because he'll be there and he doesn't move his head. So yes, he doesn't move his head. Okay. So those are my thoughts about this fight. And this is where I think it's a great fight. Luis Ortiz, if he wins this fight, it comes through the right hook, left hand combination. Right hook, straight left combination. The right hook is to count off the jab, and then the left hand straight after that. That's the combination for me. And the combination for me for Wilder has got to be a position where Ortiz stops moving his head, and he drives that right hand straight through the middle. So I see that punch there, looking to hit Ortiz round about the temple, front, the forehead, and his temple. So I expect to see a lot more temple punching from Deontay Wilder in this rematch. You can get as fit as you want, but I don't believe Father Time is a respect of any man. So Luis Ortiz, it's gonna be a case of Deontay Wilder Luis Ortiz. It's gonna be about him making Wilder make more mistakes, and Wilder learning from those mistakes and capitalizing them. That's why I see it. Those are my thoughts on the fight. Love to know your thoughts on the fight. As always, thank you so much for watching. This is BWTM Sports on Luis Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder. A great fight. Ortiz can win this fight. If Wilder gets stupid and overcommits and doesn't learn from the first fight, he could find himself in a world of hurt. But I'm going to go with Wilder for this one, simply because of the younger, fresher fighter. And just because you get yourself in shape, it doesn't mean it makes you the heavyweight champion of the world. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Take care.